This video is the start of a new series. Also, make sure you stay until the very end for the final reveal. What's up, everyone? In today's video, I'm going to do something that I have never done before, which is to paint on vintage mirrors. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, Anna, why are you going to paint on mirrors when you have canvases and panels? Well, I will tell you. So many moons ago, I was watching an episode of my favorite art podcast called The Creative Endeavour. This is a podcast that's hosted by Andrew Tishler, who is a fantastic oil painter. If you haven't seen his work, you guys should go check it out. It is linked down below in the description of this video if you guys want to check out his channel and see some of his work, as well as his website is linked down below. And in this episode, he had a guest artist, which was Kate Zambrano. And Kate kind of talked on this episode about how she wanted to expand her creativity and not just paint on things like canvases or panels. And I have a clip from that podcast because Kate says it much better than I could.
And I was like, I want to start painting again, but I have panels everywhere. I just don't really want to paint a painting on a panel. I just want to make stuff on stuff. So then I bought some magnifying glasses and then scratched the surface a little bit and then painted stuff on that. I was trying to take what I had learned and apply it into something that seemed more fun for me.
I watched that years ago at this point, and what she said really stuck with me and it really inspired me. And after that was the first time I had ever, come across her, and I started following her on Instagram, and I saw some of the things that she created, like the magnifying glass that she referenced. And I was just completely blown away by her work, not just, her oil paintings, but her charcoal. But that idea of painting on something different stuck with me. And she really inspired me, and it stuck with me. And I talked it over with my boyfriend about how I had been thinking about this and had been in the back of my mind. And so the last birthday I had, we were up in Northern California visiting his parents. His parents live close to this old iconic gold mining town up in Northern California. And it is known for its not only historical significance, but also its antique stores. And so while we were there, since it was my birthday, I told him I want to go shopping and I want to go find some old vintage hand mirrors, possibly, fingers crossed, that have aged glass. So we went to a couple of the antique stores close by, Old Town Columbia. And while I was there, not only did I find this incredibly unique hand mirror in the very first store that we were in. As you can see, it has the gold and the moon and the characters, but also I was able to find this other Art Nouveau hand mirror, and you can see how it has the aged glass and everything. It was perfect. It was like fate was aligning the stars for me. So here we have them, both of the mirrors that I was able to get while I was up in Old Town Columbia. As you can see, the sizing is a little bit different, and they are perfect in their uniqueness. I don't care how tarnished the glass is or the quality of the metal. I don't care. That's what makes them unique, and I cannot wait to start creating on them. And it took everything in me to hold myself back so that way I could film this before jumping right into it, as I usually do. Now, one thing you might be thinking, or maybe haven't even thought of, is yes, painting on this is one thing, but also, how am I going to display this? I can't exactly hang it up on a wall. I mean, it's a hand mirror. You have to hold it with your hand. And that's when I was like, aha, I know what to do. So if you guys are ever in an art store and you see these kind of prop humans that are absolutely completely useless, if you are at any level of advancement, it's much easier just to go outside and find people or use your own hand, or I don't know, the family, mom or dad, to draw, as compared to using one of those things. I do not recommend them. But they don't just make, the standing human figure thing, which again, completely useless in my own opinion, but they also make hands. And what is this? It's a hand mirror. So I was like, maybe that useless thing that, the thumb doesn't even move correctly, maybe it's not that useless. So I ordered some on the trusty Amazons, which I would recommend buying. I know some people don't like Amazon. I love Amazon, and I like deals, and that's kind of why. But Ha! Hand mirror, hand, completely useless thing, made useful. I mean, the stem doesn't even work properly. And we can hide the ugliness with some nice pair of gloves, which as you guys can see, I did not turn right side out because I had tried it on earlier and it fit. Let's just fix that. See, look at that. Look at that glove hiding the ugliness. And then we just take the mirror. We put it in the hand, and this honestly makes me think of the Phantom of the Opera when, you guys remember the Gerald Butler one, and he's got the black glove, and when he's like turning the key. Doesn't that look, but look at that! Look at that display, and if you're worried, like, Anna, it's gonna fall over. Well, I also decided to make a base for it. Now, I totally did this off camera because it took a little bit because I had to sand down and stain the wood and paint the silver. It was a test, and I used clamps to glue these two together because these are two different pieces, and it made little indents, which I was dumb. I'm not going to make it that tight, and I'll put a little protective thing on it next time. But all I got to do is screw this into the base and eventually get something on the bottom so that way it doesn't slide. And then there we go. I got a display, a completely unique and one-of-a-kind display, which of course I'll have to make for each and every mirror, but that's fine. I can individualize the gloves to whatever the theme is, and I'm just like, it's all coming together. Look at that. Okay, so remember back in the beginning of this video how I said I had never done this before? Well, I was laying in bed last night, and I thought to myself, I've never done this before. What if I invested all this time and energy and I got so excited? And what if I go to try it and it doesn't work? So I decided I'm just gonna do a test on one of these smaller ones. Now, as you guys can see here, I have already prepped it. I sanded it down. I used some gesso on it. The gesso I used is this one right here, which is clear gesso. Now I got it just because even though I knew I was sanding it down, it was going to lose the reflectiveness, just in case if any of it got around it onto the mirror part that I left there, just so it would still be transparent. Because I typically use black gesso, but I was like, let me try clear for this one. Now I sanded it enough to where there is still enough texture. That way the paint's going to stick on it, but also not grainy, so it's not going to show up in the painting. But yeah, it's all prepped. It's ready to go. Let's go over to my painting desk and do a little test. Fingers crossed. Now, the first mirror I'll be doing a test on is actually from Denmark, as you can see here. Now, for those that don't know, I'm actually part Danish. My great-grandmother that I'm named after moved here from Denmark to start her family. And so me and my sisters grew up loving watching Disney princess movies, and we of course loved Little Mermaid. And for those that don't know, the Little Mermaid is actually a Danish fairy tale that was written by a Danish writer, Hans Christian Andersen. And if you actually go to Copenhagen, there is a statue of the Little Mermaid. One of my sisters was actually lucky enough to go to Copenhagen and see the statue before she passed away. Now, if you ever have the time or get the chance to read the original story by Hans Christian Andersen, you will see it is very, very different than the Disney version and extremely sad. And that's something that I really wanted to capture in this painting of Ariel's eye that I did, just that, complete tragedy that is the real Little Mermaid story. Now, for the second test, I will be painting Prince Eric's eye on this small pocket gold mirror. This mirror was very, very tarnished, so I did have to do some cleaning to it, which surprisingly I actually really enjoyed. I usually don't like scrubbing and cleaning things to this extent, but it was so satisfying at the end to see just how beautiful and shiny the metal in this mirror was that I actually can't wait to do it to all of the other mirrors in the future, just to see that difference and that revival of this mirror. Now, going into it, I did want to go show you guys just how I prepped the mirror, and I realized after painting the Ariel one just how important that process would be to show you. And now the story behind Prince Eric is obviously it's a very different version than what everyone that has watched the Disney version knows. And so Eric is a very lively, optimistic guy, and he didn't know that it was Ariel that saved him. He always thought it was this other princess. So on contrast to Ariel, I wanted to give him that optimistic glow. Guys, it worked! It worked! Oh my gosh, all the stress has left my body. Well, not really, because I'm always stressed out about something. But at least with this, now I know that I can do it. And I did do it twice. And now it's time to work on something bigger like the mirrors that I showed you in the beginning of this video. And since I started filming this and started working on this project, it's been a while now, but I'm kind of an impulsive person, and I went to a couple more antique stores and got some more mirrors, and they're beginning to pile up. I have quite a few of them now. I think at least like almost 20 now at this point. I think maybe, I'm not sure, but there's a lot there's a lot of them piling up behind me, and I'm so excited to paint things on them and to work on them and to, you know, create stories based on, you know, what I get inspired by from the mirrors itself. And I think, you know, the entire piece in of itself tells a story, and I'm just so excited to bring those to life. And I hope that you guys enjoyed this whole process and, you know, followed along with my insanity and the way that my mind works. I don't really understand how my mind works half the time, but I hope you guys enjoyed watching this whole process and how I got from point A to this. But guys, now that you guys have watched everything, let's go and do a final reveal.